Uh-oh.
vRealize this live. Hey,
there he is.
We're back. Welcome, everybody, to episode 17 of vRealize this live. Today, it's all about unified cloud management with Project Ensemble. And as always, got my trusty, not even sidekick. I don't know, man. You're so much more than that. But Thomas Bryant with us today. What title would
I'll
you
always
have?
be your Robin, Batman.
Well, Thomas, we can find you on Twitter at Kicks1979. I am Matt Bradford at VMspot. And let's just jump right into it and bring on our super awesome guest here, Mr. John V. Diaz. John.
What's up? Hey, guys.
What's up? How's it going? Nice ensemble you got going on there.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I got some stuff going on in the background. I need to turn on some other machines next time. Yeah. I did figure out the noise, the 8-bit sound is coming from my Atari. I didn't know this. Playing. Yeah, so quite accidental, but anyway.
Working hard back there.
Yeah.
Right.
Catch you.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, today is all about Project Ensemble, and this was something that we announced at VMworld this year, right? And all about, again, that unified cloud management piece. So tell us a little bit about it, John, and then we can kind of dive in a little bit. I understand you get some visuals for us to check out as well. So take it away, sir.
Yeah, I got a couple of screenshots. This is Project Ensemble is something that was announced, right, at VMworld. It's something we're hard at work on. We'll talk about timelines, that we're anticipating later on. But basically, it's a solution that we think will solve problems that our customers are having with multi-cloud management, right? So vRealize cloud management along with cloud health offers some great capabilities for managing and ensuring the performance and capacity, managing costs of your clouds, deploying, giving users that self-service experience to deploy from a catalog of services, but giving IT governance and control. The cloud administrator is still in control of all the things. Optimizing costs with cloud health on public cloud workloads, security with secure state. So there's a lot of stuff that we can do. It can be daunting though, right? And our approach is, you may have heard us talk about, and I don't know if you've had somebody on to talk about the cloud operating model and what that is. But basically that is the basis for our approach or our strategy for cloud management, right? And that's to give clarity to how to bring all this stuff together. And so what we wanted to do with the goal of Project Ensemble is to basically bring all of our rich capabilities together, but not just kind of the grand unified interface, right? That's not what we're doing. What we're doing is we're bringing in all the various data points from all these rich capabilities and services that we have, and then normalizing that data in a way that makes sense to application owners. Because at the end of the day, that's why we're running all this clouds, all this stuff, and deploying workloads is to run some critical application for an organization or business. And so that app-centric focus, giving the consumer, the cloud consumer in that cloud operating model, a view of everything that they need to know about their application is what, one of the key capabilities that we look to offer with Project Ensemble.
Got it. Okay. So we're aggregating between all the information in cloud health, vRealize operations. It sounds like there's some self-service component to Ensemble as well, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's basically taking all the data points from the various vRealize services, for example, and today if you go into vRealize automation, you can see some metrics for your applications in from VROps. The costing is provided from VROps, and VROps we ingest some information from vRealize Network Insight, and vice versa. So we're exchanging data, but what we look to do is to elevate that because the information that's exchanged between the products is really for the cloud provider, the practitioner that's operating the clouds. We want to elevate and take all that and give it to the consumer because it would be very valuable for the consumer to understand, how changes in the environment are impacting their applications. And then along with that, we're going to provide business insights that will recommend to them, here's, we saw a change. Here's something you can do to prevent that change from causing or to rectify any issues that change may have caused with your application. And so think about it like a shortcut. If I'm the cloud admin or I'm the virtual administrator and something breaks in the environment, I've got to go figure out okay, which applications did I impact, right?
Yeah.
Why not just let Ensemble contact the application owner directly and say, hey, there was a host that went down. One of your VMs that's part of this 3-tier app was on that host. And we refer to that internally as the blast radius, right? And so all the applications in that blast radius, the owners of those applications will get notified about that so that they're aware and they can take action to ensure that their applications are still healthy.
That's nice. So you can actually just go dive into all that work is for you. Because, I remember back in the day, outage, first question from our managers, what was impacted when it went down? And now you got to go out, spend all that time contacting people before you can even start actually trying to solve or figure out the problems. That is awesome.
And it's really great too because one of the key things that Ensemble does is it's kind of like a CMDB for the cloud. It's not a CMDB in the purest sense, but it understands all of the architecture that supports the application in context of the application, and then it's also watching the change feed from all of the vRealize products, and then it's coalescing all that. It's like these are the changes impacting your application, and you can actually go back and replay that and see how maybe your topology changed, your application topology changed, or was impacted by a particular change. So there's also that capability too that you mentioned, Matt. That a lot of it, VI admins have to spend time, figuring out putting the puzzle back together. The plate fell on the floor and I'm trying to glue it back together and figure out what it was supposed to look like before that. And so that's another capability that Ensemble will offer.
That's great. Not to mention, sounds like potentially more meaningful tickets coming in too versus, hey, my application was down. Now it's, hey, my application was running here, it's running fine, but now it's running over here and it's running like garbage. Start to get a little bit more detailed information in the tickets. That's
and click here to move it back. Right.
Right.
Click here to add more RAM. Any number of recommendations and actionable recommendations. And then for the practitioner, they could they would consume the same console, that would be maybe their launching pad for vRealize stuff. And then they could launch in context into, I tell you what, let's look at a screenshot.
Yeah.
It's, I'm doing a lot of hand waving here. So this is a mock-up, okay, and you can see I'll call out this work in progress, right? So may not look like this when it hits the streets, but today it's beautiful UI that we're planning. Probably a lot of the same elements will still be there, but a couple of things to point out about this, right? So this whole thing is focused on the persona of the user. So if I log in as an application owner, I'm seeing the context of applications that I own based on projects that I belong to. Okay. So if you're familiar with vRealize, automation, we divide users up into groups of projects. So we're extending the metaphor out to that, to this product, right? So it's consistent, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And so I see my applications. I can see the health of those. Of course, I can click in, drill down on my applications as well. And then here's that change feed over here. I can see, different changes, and then the business insights that Ensemble is recommending for that. Like, here's an example, and this is a common, we understand talking to VMC customers, this is a common thing that they want to know about is, hey, if my storage demand increases and I'm on VMC, that EDRS will kick in. And I would like a chance to not let that happen, not add another host, maybe reclaim some storage, et cetera. And so I can take action from here to see if I can hold that action off. Okay. So that's just one example. The other thing is, you can see the visibility and the cost, for example, here. The other thing that it's not really showing is there is a global search capability, right? So think about it this way: a virtual machine in vSphere, and that same virtual machine as it's deployed from vRealize automation and then monitored by Ops, LI, VR, and I. That's the same object, but it's not stored as, it's a different object in each of those UIs, right? So if I want to know about the health of the virtual machine, I want to see that virtual machine in the context of vRealize operations, right? If I want to know about the configuration of it, maybe I go to, I want to look at the machine from the standpoint of vRealize automation. So that global search will allow us to search across the entire set of metadata that comprises that entity, that virtual machine. And it's the database behind all this is entity data service. But so if you think of the entity of the virtual machine and then data points from each of the vRealize products, you can search across that globally from this UI instead of going into each product, and looking at various bits of information there. This will make it easier for you to figure out, like, okay, from here, I need to launch into VRA because I want to resize this virtual machine or this deployment, or I need to launch into VR Ops because I want to use the troubleshooting workbench to get deeper context, et cetera. So that's kind of at a grand scale what we're going for. But again, two or three important things is persona driven, app centric, the business insights that it provides, as it looks at the change history for an application, and then just the unification of the vRealize experience into a single user interface that can then expand out into context into the other vRealize components as necessary.
That's that's really cool. Is there something, obviously we're still working on this, right? It's still in development, but is the idea here that there's going to be anything for a customer to have to install? Is this going to be a SaaS-based kind of offering?
So it will be, that's a great question. So initially the plan is, it will be SaaS. It will always be SaaS, right? The plan is initially to provide this for our VMC customers, and they'll be able to consume it through the VMC console. Okay. And the way that they can do that when they activate VMC and reach a certain number of hosts, like we see they're actively using VMC, they can click a button and Ensemble will become available to them. In addition, vRealize cloud services will be activated in their org, configured. Okay, totally, everything's sewn together. If cloud proxies need to be deployed, they'll be deployed. It's zero touch. Well, one touch, one click, right?
Yeah.
And right. So we want to make this super, super easy for people to get started with and consume and start using. So within an hour or so, you should be able to see the UI, get the UI experience that I was just showing you.
Awesome.
Thomas,
Thomas, get any questions on this? Or?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm muting. I muted myself when I was sneezing. Dang it. No, I mean, I love the idea of this, and I love the visuals and everything. I mean, when I was an IT administrator, the biggest thing that was always a pain was just how do I empower my users so that they don't bother me, right? I've got better things to do than fight fires. And they have no idea what VM their apps live on. They have no idea what it touches. And so having something like this that actually can stave off a lot of the calls to the help desk, that can empower the users to, hey, you can go off and do this without us, zero touch. I think that's just lights out awesome. I mean, what more could you really want as an app owner? Because you've always been asking for this, and you could just go to cloud services and go rogue and do whatever you want with no control, and then IT freaks out. And then you've got IT on the other side that wants to give you more control but doesn't have any way to do it. This is perfect. This is like that marriage that we've been looking for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it does solve a lot of longstanding issues, right? And which have become especially important in the multi-cloud era, right? So running virtual infrastructure on-prem was complex. It is like really, now with multi-cloud, it is super complex, and so these, it's just become more and more difficult to kind of wrangle in and keep users happy and keep them from going rogue, that type of thing. Yeah. So we think this is going to go a long way, and there's already been a lot of excitement around this just from our early announcement. We do plan to currently we want to have something available again for our VMC customers in sometime in the first quarter. That could change depending, of course. But so stay tuned, for more information about that. And so that's Project Ensemble. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. Looking forward to having you back on once, this does become a thing and we are turning it on for customers and everything. I mean, yeah, I just love, we've talked about kind of pulling in from all these various tools, but it's also the various personas too, right? Cloud Health is a completely different, VI admin's not necessarily going to be using Cloud Health. They might, but now as an app owner, I don't have to figure out who to go to. Do I go to, finance operations? Do I go to, who do I talk to? And just bundling it all into one place for me to find it all is really empowering. So,
yeah, absolutely.
So it's like getting more information. I mean, we can't hand this to our customers just yet, but if they're itching to learn a little bit more about Project Ensemble, what are some good resources we can point them to?
Yeah, so there's a couple of resources that we have available. There was a session that was delivered at VMworld by Jad Alzain and Kamesh, who is the product manager one of the product managers working on Ensemble. And they go into a lot of it. So it's an hour-long session. They cover it much more deeply than we've done here, obviously. So if you want a lot of rich detail about what's behind it, what's the architecture look like, what's planned for the future, they get into some of that. I would recommend checking out that session MCL 1301. You can find that at the VMworld website. And then I also have a blog out there that kind of summarizes the key capabilities of Project Ensemble that are planned for initial availability. So that blog is also a good resource for you to learn more or just review what we talked about here today.
Fantastic. And we'll include links down below for everybody to just go ahead and click on. If you don't feel like typing this URL, if you do, by all means, you're empowered to do so. But yeah, awesome, John. Thanks so much for having us on here. Where can people find you?
On the Twitters, John D. Diaz, and I'm happy to hear from users. Happy to answer questions on Twitter, and that's probably the best way to get a hold of me.
Awesome,
fantastic. Thanks, and my at VMspot on the Twitters, and following suit. There's a clear theme here. Everybody's on the Twitters. Come join us. Mr. Thomas Bryant kicks 1979. Thanks, John, so much for coming on and showing us all about Project Ensemble, or telling us all about Project Ensemble. Really looking forward to seeing this thing come to fruition.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on once again. So, and always enjoy being in the pit with you guys.
Happy to have you on anytime. So thanks so much, everybody. Thanks for joining us on vRealize This Live, episode 17 on Project Ensemble. We'll catch you next time.